the military's illness. In accordance to the United States Department of Veterans Affairs, approximately 7 to 8% of the U.S. population is directly affected by a threatening mental illness that creates a negative impact on our society as a whole. The disorder has its largest impact on the men and women that serve our nation's military. The disorder I'm referring to, you may ask yourself, post-traumatic stress disorder, more commonly abbreviated by PTSD. It's an extremely relevant mental illness in scope of the United States military. Ultimately, I became interested in researching the topic of PTSD while serving in the United States Marine Corps for 4 years. The extent of my research was talking to my battalion corpsmen, going to mandatory classes, and then talking to my peers or senior Marines that had the disorder. Today I'm going to educate you on mental illness, PTSD, within the scope of the military. I'll first be explaining how someone acquires PTSD, followed by the symptoms associated with PTSD, and finally the treatment options available for the illness. Let's begin by talking about my first point, being how someone acquires PTSD. PTSD is either combat related or through military sexual trauma or MST. PTSD occurs in the mind of the individual after they've experienced a traumatic event, hence the word traumatic and PTSD. Trauma, as defined by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs, is a shocking and dangerous event that you see or that happens to you. While someone's experiencing a traumatic event, they may think that their lives or someone else's lives are in danger, and within the scope of the United States military, they may have been exposed to missions that put their lives or other people's lives in jeopardy. Although men are more likely than women to experience combat within or witness death and injury, women are also susceptible to the disorder. Female veterans are more likely than male veterans to experience a second and final cause of PTSD in the scope of the U.S. military, which is military sexual trauma. MST is any kind of sexual harassment or sexual assault that occurs on veterans while they're in the armed service. Moving forward to my second point, I will be discussing the symptoms that are associated with PTSD. The symptoms associated with PTSD are typically organized into 4 distinct groups, being intrusive memories, avoidance, negative thinking, and mood or changes in emotional reactions. However, today I'm only going to be speaking about 2, intrusive memories and avoidance. A symptom included within the scope of the intrusive memories includes an individual at hand that is reliving the traumatic event as if it was happening all over again. It is commonly referred to as a flashback. Flashbacks are severe and emotionally distressful, and you have physical reactions that remind them of the traumatic event that originally triggered the disorder to begin with. The second and final group of the symptom I will be discussing that are associated with PTSD is the avoidance group. Avoidance group is the individual attempting to avoid thinking or talking about the traumatic incident. They'll avoid places, activities, or certain things that remind them or that can trigger the PTSD. Finally, the third point I'll be discussing are treatment options for PTSD. The treatment option available are psychotherapy and medications. The first subcategory is psychotherapy. Psychotherapy uses cognitive therapy, which they can talk through the PTSD, and they want to help use cognitive patterns that keep them from thinking positively about life, or they want to avoid talking about things that keep them from thinking positively about life. Exposure therapy has them basically learn to cope with or build up to the coping with the PTSD or something that triggers the PTSD. The second subcategory of treatment is medication, which also comes in 2 forms, antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications. Antidepressants help symptoms of depression and anxiety. Specific medications are Zoloft and Paxil, which have been approved by the FDA. Anti-anxiety medications improve feelings, but sometimes they've been abused, so they are not recommended for long-term use. In turn, PTSD is a mental disorder that affects a large majority of the United States, especially those that have served in the armed services. I explained to you how PTSD, followed by the symptoms with disorder, and finally the treatment options that were available for the illness. Seeing as PTSD affects a large majority of members that have served in the military, I hope you pulled something educational that you can use maybe to one day help a veteran in need, and just for overall general self-education on the topic. Here's a list of my references: the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Mayo Clinic staff of 2017. I appreciate your time.